Hi everybody on Inspired to Paint. I am going to do a product review for you on the new Soltek Easel. So I have had the old Soltek Easel for almost 20 years, and it looks like it. There's paint everywhere. And I have absolutely loved this easel. I have several other easels, but I always go back to the Soltek. And I know, Shanna uses a different easel, and she has the reason why she likes hers. But this was the old Soltek. It was all one piece, which was really nice. And these legs telescoped out. But one of the problems with the old Soltek is that if you got any dirt or sand or anything in these legs, they didn't retract very well. The other thing that was somewhat, see, this one's just had it, but when I set let me put this up. Okay, so this is what the Soltek Easel looks up, and when you were painting, the only thing I didn't like about the old Soltek was how deep this was. Your painting would, your palette, canvas would sit here, but that was the only bad thing, was how deep that was. And the fact that the way the legs were made, that sometimes you would get dirt or sand in there and they wouldn't telescope up very nice. So they have redesigned it. So let me show you the new Soltek.
How many years did you use that for?
Like 20 years. 20 years. And it shows it. Yeah. Anyway, so the new Soltek comes in two different pieces this time. So this is like your tripod, and this is the palette. So they have redesigned the legs, which are really nice. They just slide out really easy, just like that. They also just telescope back in really easy. So you just pull these out, pull this one out, and there's these little pins right here that if you want to move the leg in and out, you push that in, and then you can adjust how wide or how in you want those legs. So let's just gonna put that here. And again, this is where your canvas will sit. This is very similar to the other one, to the old one, but I can say that I think it's made a lot better because I've had to replace this piece a couple times over the 20 years, and I think this is a lot better made. So, there you can move, depending on, if you're a watercolor artist, you can lay it down flat. So that's really nice. So then the palette itself is this box, and it comes in two sizes. So this is the regular size, and I also bought the small size, but I'll be honest with what I do, I don't know if I really needed the small size. I think most people can get away with just the regular size. So it has this slot right here that just slides on right here. And I'll be honest, the first time I used this, I had to loosen the screws just a little bit because they were screwed in so far that this didn't go in very well. So this is rather loose right now. But what you do is these push in, and that folds out. And then inside, this is going to be where you palette, where you mix all your colors. I have all my paints. Your brushes can go on here. And they give you two little Allen wrenches. So, you can have the palette at an angle like this, but if you want it more level, then they come with these Allen wrenches that you just put in. You just have to tighten it, and then it will stay in that position, whichever way that you want it. But so then your terp can sit right there. It's strong enough to hold that. And the brushes, they have these little ridges here, so they can either go over here and be in those little ridges. And like I said, this is the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could probably get 13 tubes of paint in there easily, along with several brushes. So that is really nice.
Is there a place where you can put a cord or a wire or something to hang your mineral spirits if you want?
So that is a good question. So when I was in Phillipsburg, Montana, my recent plein air painting, I did have, let's see, I have my bungee cord that I always have, and I just put that right there. That is one thing that they could have probably had done, like a little hole where you could have an S-clip or something that you could wire your terp can here, but there isn't that. But so I just kept my terp can there, my paper towels here, and this can go up or down depending on how tall you are. So that
it can take any size too, can't it?
It can take a really, yeah. The only problem is the small. So you, like a 5x7, it won't hold a 5x7, or it'll only hold however wide these are. But when I go out painting and I want to do small ones, then I'll take like a 12x16 canvas and I'll divide it into fours. And then I have 4 6x8s. And so that's the 12x6 canvas fits really nicely on there. So again, to take it apart, it's just really easy once you clean up your palette. The one thing I would suggest when you put your palette out is not to put any paint right down the middle because that is where, that's where it folds. So, because the first time I used it, I put paint right there and then realized I had to move it. But so this just snaps in, and your brushes and your paints are all then, and then this slides out. This slides out, and then we're just going to push these in, pull that down, take all 3 of them at once, and push it in, and it can go in your plain air bag. So
that works really well for a tall person as well, doesn't it?
Right, because it can go different heights.
Change it.
Right, they used to have 2 different sizes. I think they called it the Pro, which was for taller people, and I just had the regular one. But with this one, they only have the one size because of the legs, the way the legs go. You can have it different heights if you want. So I've used this a couple times now, and I really like it.
What does it weigh?
Altogether, it weighs a little bit less than the older Soltek. I want to say about 8 pounds altogether with this bigger palette. Now, once you put your paints in that's pretty heavy. So if you plan on climbing up mountains or things like that, I would definitely scale down your paint so that you're using a limited palette and don't take 1,000 brushes. Just take a few to reduce the weight. So that is a Soltek Easel. The price point on it it's on the higher range, but at the same time, my last Soltek Easel that I don't think was made as good as this, I think this is made even better, lasted 20 years. So for $600–700, I plan on using this easel for the next 20 years, and I think that's a reasonable price.
Do you think you'll use the small one?
I don't think I will use the small one because I think the palette, and it comes with this brown covering, so when you get it, you have to take the brown covering off. But I think the palette is so small for me, for what I like to do. I don't think this was worth it for me to buy. Because this is in itself is smaller than the original one. It's a little bit smaller, but at the same time, let me just show you. If I did want a bigger palette, let me have that here. So here's this was the size of the old palette for the Soltek, but I could clip that there, and that gives me a few extra inches. Can you see that? A few extra inches of mixing. I do think that they probably could have made this one just a little bit wider, maybe just a couple inches wider, and that would have been about perfect for me. But I really enjoyed using this when I was in Phillipsburg at the OPA Master Show when I was painting with Kathy Anderson. We had a great time. So that is the Soltek. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or make a comment. on this post down below. Just scroll down and give us your feedback on the Soltek easel, and I hope this leaves you inspired to paint.